Hey there, Svashtis here. I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on an art concept, stuff that allows you to do torn out edges on maps, or say torn edges on a newspaper clipping for handouts for your players, or if you want to have some fancy transparency edges on like a minimap icon. Now I'm using paint.net here, but this concept works in any image editor that allows you to have layers and your little magic wand icon which selects all colors or close enough to. So the idea is to have one of these little maps with these sort of torn edges around it, or a newspaper clipping like that. So if we look at a basic map, all these files will be available on via links below. We want to have our torn out edges on it. So the idea behind it is you take a mask like this, which the file will be available, and this is what the edge, where the white is where you don't want anything, and where the black is where you do. So we'll select that whole thing, copy it, go to our first map, and we'll generate a layer for it and place this image on top of it. Now it doesn't really need to fit, in fact in this case it doesn't. Really depends on which ones you find online, or if you want to draw your own, but in this case we'll just make it fit the whole map, stretch it out a bit, and what we want eventually is our map to fill the black spot and the transparency to fill the white spot. Can't really see what we're doing, we'll just nuke the transparency a bit on that top layer, and we can see, yep, underneath our map, if we trim all this stuff out, it'll look pretty much like the way we want it. Okay, that looks great. So the idea behind this is we have two images. Now this top layer will be thrown away eventually, but the idea behind it is we know which bits we want to cut out of our bottom map. So we will select, notice we're on layer 2, we will select the black. There is a tolerance, but basically that's just black and white, so it's pretty much a very rough edge. And so that selection that I've just selected is what I want to have remaining on my bottom map. So we will invert the selection, so now it's only selecting the border. The reason I didn't just select the border is there's hard colors between it, so you'd have to select it all individually. It's just easier to select the main image and then invert it. So this selection here is what we want to delete. So we will just go to our second background image, and I'll push the delete button, and I'll turn off the top layer, and there we go. That's our map having the edges. It's not a beautifully smooth edge, it is a very rough idea. It's just basically the concept that we're selecting a cutout point on our top map on one layer, going to another layer and deleting it. So if we have a look at our newspaper, we have a newspaper clipping and we have a torn newspaper section. This has actually got transparency in black. We'll copy it and we will create a new layer, paste it to that layer, and we won't expand canvas or anything. Now as you can see, the thing doesn't fit in the slightest, not at all. So I'll just nuke the opacity so we can see what we're doing a bit. So we'll just do it, because this top layer is deletable, we'll just do it 2 bits at a time. So we'll say you've torn the newspaper here, we'll get a little bit of the O from of out. We'll use our magic wand, we'll select the left area. I'm copying, well, actually I need to copy, sorry, what I'm doing. I'm just going down to my background, so the left area is selected, and I delete. So if we turn off our top layer, we can see now we have deleted that chunk of newspaper, but nothing on the right. So we'll turn on our layer again, and we'll move, select the top layer, and we'll move this over here. The stuff on the right is not important, it's just flavor. There we go. And magic wand, we select that chunk, go down to our background, delete that chunk. Now we can turn off the top layer, and there we go. Now this top layer is only used to just get a nice bit that we want to delete, it can now be deleted and removed. You don't need it anymore. And you have a newspaper article. It sort of looks like it's been torn from a newspaper. I think my spelling in this is probably horrendous. I just quickly typed it up. But that's essentially our concept. Finding our mask at the top, selecting the bit that we want to delete based on our mask, and then deleting it from a different layer below. So I'm hoping this will help someone. I'll save all of these things and release the files. So this is paint.net, but all you need with Litability is to have layers, a magic wand icon, which just this tool in most of these editors just allows you to select all of a color. And because these masks are black and transparent, or like this one, black and white, you can select, you know, the black, the white, whatever you want, and then take that to a second layer and delete it. Alright, let me know if you guys have got any questions, and I'll talk about it later.